Het-Heru, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, and Shalom. This is Kasak Het-Heru with another broadcast for you. And today I want to talk about how to be a successful actor using magic. Now, if you saw my last broadcast where I talked about the Golden Globes, I went in detail about some of the thoughts I had on that and some of the problems that Hollywood is facing. But I want to make this video to help those aspiring actors who are trying to get into business but having a difficult time. And I want to present an alternative to the traditional approach of getting into the industry. Now, whether you believe this magic can work for you or not, I don't care. I'm putting this out there. For those who do believe and follow this practice, I'm sure that they'll have a lot of success. But I don't usually go around debating people whether these techniques work or not, because if you have that kind of doubt anyway, then so be it. But first, let me start off by saying this. This technique can work. It doesn't really, it's not just specifically for actors, but if you're going for a job position, if you're trying to relocate or you're trying to just get extra money, the same principles I'm going to talk about here work across the board. But one of the things that I really wanted to focus on was to help actors, because I see so many of them, and sometimes it really breaks my heart to see people who are very talented but can't get their day in the sun. So with that said, let me talk a little bit about this, and excuse me if I be a little blunt and curse, because I'm so tired of the BS, and a person can only take but so much, you know what I mean? So let's start by saying this. Whether you realize it or not, the industry, Hollywood, works by magic. Many people in the industry are involved in secret societies. In fact, many people that you see who are at the top echelons of their fields, such as producers, directors, or top actors, got there because of magic. They either went to a priest or priestess, or there is inner circles in Hollywood that you can go to that can perform a ritual on your behalf to get you to a certain level of stardom. You can research this yourself. A lot of rock musicians, a lot of actors have done this. And even in the stock market, you'll find there's a select few, really close-knit group of brokers and other individuals who have high-paid astrologers to tell them the times of when things will be good to invest or pull out. So, and my background is I came from originally started in recruiting, and we would, recruit people. And I used, as a recruiter, looked at people's sun sign, because to me, it was always accurate to determine who would be a good worker, what fields would they best be in, like, for example, just a sample here, like a Pisces, which I'm a Pisces. Pisces don't like to sit in one job for too long. Pisces love to they need to see different things. They need to have an emotional experience. A Gemini person is kind of a little bit, you can say duplicitous. I don't like to use that word, but they're very good go-getters. They're on the move, so any type of, like, for example, mailroom job or messenger job works good for a Gemini. But anyway, so I encourage you to do your research, and you will see, if you just don't get the mainstream books, but get the real good books on Amazon, which will take you into the inner workings of Hollywood, and you will see that it's replete with secret societies, with these priests and priestesses doing these magic ceremonies on behalf of the actors and behalf of the producers to make them successful. Now, there's also a dark side to that, and that's something you probably want to stay away from. But what I'm going to give you is something that specifically deals with having your light shine, positive energy, and employing positive magic. Now, one of the things that even I, after so many darn years of being in this society of priests and priestesses, and then going and exploring on my own across the country to find mentors and people to show me the way, even I forget sometimes. And what I mean by this is, like, I'll be working with individuals because, sometimes I'll do consulting, and certain companies or individuals will really upset me because they don't want to listen to what I'm saying, and I know what I'm talking about. So, I'll get angry. My person will get angry, but I understand I'm who I am, which is consciousness having a fourth dimensional experience, and that everything that happens, I'm actually creating it for the benefit of spiritually growing. So, but the thing is I have to realize and say, well, you know what? I am not going to get into an argument. I am not going to get into a debate. I'm going to purge myself of that aggressive Hurukuhuti or Aries energy, because I know at the end of the day, there is a way to deal with this, and it's through magic. So if I'm in a situation and it's not going according to how I like, I simply just bow out of the situation and then go home and do a ritual and have the situation change. And sometimes it can change overnight. Sometimes it can take a couple of days, and it can take longer than that. But what the important thing I want you to understand is that, and we forget this, that there is an alternative to the typical Cartesian logic of a one-to-one relationship. What do I mean? We actually think that in order to change something, in order to have effect on something, we have to get out there and directly impact that thing. And that's wrong, because the world is connected according to Ma'at. Ma'at is right brain, nonlinear thinking, nonlinear time space, if you say it that way. And what that means is that you can affect things that are far from you, and that you may not even have any type of direct contact or relationship with that thing, but you still can affect it and change it. So when all else fails, when you've pounded the payments, you've tried to get into the industry, you've tried to make contacts with the influential people, and you can't, at the end of the day, look at yourself in the mirror and understand that you are power. You are God man, God woman, and you can tune into that power within you. And who is that power? The indwelling intelligence of Osiris, who is waiting to be resurrected. And that was part of the Egyptian mythos or mythology. So he's waiting to for you to recognize him, to utilize his power on your behalf. So stop thinking that everything has to be about pounding the pavement, going to acting classes, going out there finding the right instructor, going out there to Hollywood networking parties. And it becomes a very a futile attempt, because it's not in the stars of everyone or in the cards of everyone to be discovered that way. You may have to employ a different means and measure to get where you need to go. And if you're thinking that, oh, well, this is really unorthodox, it's weird, not really, because most of the people in Hollywood are doing it. They just don't tell you. It would be a scandal if they did tell you. And go back and watch my video where I explain like who really controls Hollywood, what's going on behind the closed doors. And go look at Stanley Kubrick's film Eyes Wide Shut, where you have Tom Cruise, who actually stumbles into a secret society where they're doing human sacrifices. And it scares the crap out of him, because it really awakens him to the fact that this goes on in the world. And especially in Hollywood, it's Holly is the, if you understand the whole thing behind Hollywood, is the wood of the holly tree. Okay. And stars, and scripts are incantations. That's why we call them scripts. Anyway. So this is, this, if you go in and look deeper, you'll see that there's all kinds of magic symbolism, that you can tune into. And many of the production companies, many of the studios are practicing magic, and they have high magicians working with them because they're trying to put out their global message. This is why when you look at a lot of, like Disney animation or photographs from Disney's up and coming films, you will notice that, man, I wonder if I can say that, because they actually, never mind, but I kind of work with Disney. I'm just wondering, wow, should I pick Disney as an example? Well, okay, let's just say it this way. Let's turn to a new studio. Let's not talk about Disney, okay? Disney is really good. They're a great studio, okay? But you get the message of what I'm trying to say, okay? About how these production companies You know, in life, what you're going to find out is there is the world that you see before you, and there's the world underneath. And when you become a very wise person and you get older, you start to see the world underneath, and you realize the world isn't what I thought it was. And you know, Jordan Maxwell, who I admire, and you can research some of his films or his books. He talks about Hollywood. In fact, he used to hobnob with Spielberg and Lucas and those guys. But anyway, he tells you that the world is not run the way you think it is, and he is so right. He is so right. So anyway, I understand your passion. I understand your dreams because I came from that same background. And you want to make it. You want to be successful. You want your name in lights. You want people in your immediate circle, your family and friends, to be able to go to the theater and see you on the screen, And I've produced films. I've been in films. And let me tell you, it's a wonderful feeling, but it's also a roller coaster ride, because sometimes you're up there, you're producing stuff, or you're in a film, and next thing you know, your phone is not ringing, And it could be tough. It could be tough. And a lot of the people, there was at one point that I was really in the close-knit circle of Hollywood and just meeting and hanging with people, power players. And it was great. It was wonderful. You know what I mean? But let me tell you, they're not easily accessible, nor do they want to help you. They will give you advice. But Hollywood is really known for the people being selfish, egotistical, narcissistic. So you need to be prepared for that, right? And I'm not going to go into detail about this, but there was one young girl who I was working with. She was a producer, and she wanted to go and talk to this really well-known, famous producer, right? And I told her, I said, don't do that. Don't go talk to him. He was just standing like a few feet away from us, right? And I said, because, I know him. And he is a very cranky, rude individual to strangers. He doesn't know you. So you walking up there and just talking to him is going to create, some friction. So I turned my head, and I was talking to other people there at this event. And the next thing I know, she comes up to me really upset. And she says, I have to talk to him. And he just gave me this. He was so rude to me. And I was like, well, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? And I think because she came up to me to talk to me, he saw that. And he started walking toward her, and he apologized. I guess after realizing that she knew me, then he was like, oh, I'm sorry. But I have warned her, right? And which is what I'm saying to you. If you think that people in this industry are going to welcome you with open arms and try to help you break in, no, because they're not going to take food off their table and give it to you. Everybody's very, very selfish in the industry. So always keep in mind that at the end of the day, you can rely on the power within you. You can be self-reliant. In fact, where's my book here? Book a second. You should get this book. It is the I-Ching. It's the Chinese oracle. And this is the William Baines interpretation, translated from Chinese. Is it Mandarin? Okay. And Confucius, or what we mispronounce as Confucius, Confucius. And we don't even know if he was a real person, to be honest with you, so that's debatable. Helped author this book, and it's an oracle system for divination, which can give you some really good insight on how to guide your life, how to guide your career. And I use this. So many years ago, I was doing lots of rituals. I was really going crazy with the ritual thing and the whole trying to break in. And then I did break in. And I had meetings with studios, and I had met stars, had dinners with them, and traveled with them. But after a while, I got tired of it. It was very, very exhausting, because when you're doing these type of rituals, they either involve like a sacrifice, and what I mean by sacrifice, I'm not talking about like an animal or a human sacrifice, but those are good. Just kidding. What I'm talking about is a sacrifice of time, a sacrifice of energy. It can literally drain you to do this, but the benefits are well worth it. But you can't keep it up indefinitely, is what I'm saying. All right. There comes a point in time when you're just like, okay, enough of this. I'm out of it. I'm tired. It's taxing to my body. It's taxing to my mind. You know, I've seen a lot of actors get into this business and become disillusioned and quit after about a year. And the thing that I want to say to you is that the one thing that you need to keep in mind is to have the attitude of not quitting. And, you know, everybody says, oh, I've got that attitude. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're just fooling yourself. Because when things get tough, many people bail out, you know. So the thing I want you to do is really look at it in terms of, I'm developing a 5-year plan. Okay. Now, 5 years is a lot to invest as an actor, right? So you better make sure that you have other things that can support you financially. You're in a circle of people who are going to be very supportive in your career as things go. So keep that in mind. But the one thing that I've seen that has been the single most damaging thing that has happened to these individuals, which caused them not to be successful in the industry, is them quitting too soon. You have to keep in mind that some people will achieve stardom really quickly. Others will take years. Sam Jackson was doing a lot of smaller films before he started making all these Avenger movies and all that. And you can go back and see some of the films that he's done, which were very small bit roles. And so, you know, this guy was in the industry for a long time. Same thing. Look at who else? You look at DiCaprio. You can look at Lawrence Fishburne. They were doing films years ago, you know, so it takes time. It really does take time. And you need to make sure that when you start getting your roles, that you have someone who can really guide you into knowing what roles you should accept and what roles you should not. It's very important because looking at how you pick certain roles is going to be an indication, or what you're working on, of how big your career will be. Because you could pick a role which could typecast you or could put you in a bad light, and you'll never get another role. I mean, if you look at William Shatner, he's Captain Kirk. And sometimes you may think TJ Hooker, right? But William Shatner's always Captain Kirk. But hey, the trade-off was he's got all this money. He's been working for years in the industry. As Captain Kirk, he's even directed. So it worked out for him. And if you're okay with being typecast but getting that check, that's great. If you're looking to be the next Scarlett Johansson, then, you know, you're going to need to do some work, you know. And don't think that it's all about talent, because many people in the industry that you see don't have talent. It's not all about talent. Talent helps. It really does. But it's just not all about talent. So with that said, I want to go into the details of how you're going to perform this magic to get you to where you need to be. And I guarantee you, if you do it right, you're going to get success. Now, what does that success mean? That depends on what you want, you know, in the industry, you know. So I can't tell you that your success is going to have your name in lights, because you may just be looking to get steady paychecks. Another person may be looking to be a superstar, you know. Another person may just be looking to dabble in the industry and see what it's like and then get out, you know. So there are 3 steps to this, you know, and magic has been used since the dawn of time, you know. In fact, it's interesting today because I was researching some stuff and came across some interesting things that I did not know that date way back when. And it's very pleasing to see that what you're doing has been done by people before you, and you're carrying on that lineage and tradition. And it's a positive energy. It's not a negative energy, because the reason I want to keep emphasizing that is because a lot of people in Hollywood are involved in the negative side of the occult. And I don't have them readily available, but there are books that actually detail what they're doing, you know, and how they're doing it and how they achieve certain success using that type of dark magic. All right. So this is not about creating a vision board or about positive affirmations, and those things have limited success because it's all about, you know, when they try to, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the secret. Yeah, that secret stuff that came out several years ago that was on, I think Oprah Winfrey was heavily promoting it. And, you know, I remember being in a car and an actor friend jumped in and he was so excited because he said, "Ooh, I got the secret now. It's going to help me." You guys need to stay away from stuff like that. That is just pure like garbage. I'm sorry. I don't subscribe to the secret, that law of attraction stuff. because it doesn't work, and it's there. It's basically all the secret is boils down to is about monetary gain. That's what it's promoting, and not everybody has it within their stars to be rich or to attract money. It doesn't work like that. All right, you're here for a specific purpose, your destiny, and your destiny may not be to be an actor. It may be to be the next Bill Gates, but not an actor. Or you may end up being the next, I don't know, Elon Musk, you know, or some other person, you know. But the idea behind that is that you got to find out what you are here for, your destiny, because whether you realize it or not, if you're doing something that's not in line with your destiny, life will push you back to get in line with your destiny. And the way life will push you back is that it will create boundaries. It will create obstructions. We call it the Second. Second deals with cycles and time and obstructions. And those obstructions are there to help guide you in the right direction of your destiny. So if you feel that you're trying and getting into this industry and there's just too many obstructions, maybe it's not for you. Maybe. So you need to think about that. And usually when that happens is that doors aren't opening for you like they should. And when you employ this technique that I'm going to give you, if doors don't start opening, then you have to start thinking about, is this what I'm really meant to be? So when you look at things like a Pisces, right? Or Sagittarius or Gemini, you know, I would say, you know, like Pisces are great for artists. Pisces are all about artistic expression. These guys or girls were made for the industry, okay? And the goddess that governs the entertainment industry that you'll have to go to and plead your case to gain favor from her is Het-Heru, Hathor, or Venus. So think about that. You know, if you want to take it to that level. Many of the well-known actors who have achieved success have gone to a cultist and paid them lots of money to perform a ritual on their behalf. You can do that. And I would say you should do that. If you're looking to really be successful in any field, and you believe that field is for you, research as much as possible as a good priest. You can get they're everywhere. And see how much they cost, see if they're legit, and ask them, will they perform a ritual for you for success, you know, and tell them what the requirements are, and they'll do it for you, you know, and nothing's wrong with that. This is what you should be doing anyway. And in addition to performing the ritual, they'll tell you what you have to do, certain things that you'll have to do to ensure the success, you know. All right, but my technique here is simple. So I want you to start planning a year. Just say, I'm going to take a year and do exactly this. Now, you don't have to change anything you're doing in terms of like going to your auditions or going to your acting classes or networking. Keep doing that. That's fine and dandy. But in addition to that, the physical, you're going to work now on the metaphysical. All right. Because there's two sides to everything. There is the conscious waking self, and then there's a subconscious dormant self. There is a yin and the yang. The problem that we have in life is we focus so much on the yang, we forget about the yin. And yin is a female principle, or the subconscious mind, symbolized by the moon or a Set or Isis. So we need to start looking at, hey, we have to complement the yang aspect of the physical work that we're doing with the metaphysical work. And when you put those two together, it's dynamite. It works, but we forget. I can't tell you how many times I've done these little rituals and these meditations, and suddenly started meeting these producers and directors. Now, was I prepared? No, I wasn't prepared. I screwed many of those meetings up. But that's not the magic's fault. The magic says, listen, I'm gonna get you in the door. I'm gonna get you a meeting. Now, whether you're prepared or not, that's up to you. You know, and many times I wasn't prepared. I was young. I was dumb. I was thinking, and you know what? Let me tell you what that means, because I know by me saying, oh, I wasn't prepared, let me really make that concrete so you can understand it. From one perspective, I met the top agent, literary agent. Was literary agent? No, the top. He was the agent in Hollywood that represented all the top film directors. So he was interested in looking at my script. I had a lot of scripts, right? I was writing all crazy. And I sent him a script, and he did not like it. And it was totally my fault, because instead of me looking at the movies that were hot at the time and understanding where the trend was going, I gave him something that already proved to be a box office failure. it was proven that those type of films that I wrote about were not successful in the box office. So if I had done my research, I would have looked at the scripts and say, oh, this is what's trending now. This is what's going on now. And let me see if he's interested in this script, you know? And of course, you should never go according to what you think the audience wants, but go according to your heart. But as a filmmaker who is working with a top agent, it would have behooved me to do my research and approach it in the correct way. There was another one who I met. I sat down with Ron Harwood and Brian Grazer, and I think I've told you guys about this. And he was asking me about what type of film I wanted to make and where I was going with it. And my pitch was just terrible, you know. And he was so nice to me and gave me a lot of good advice. But you know, and then my follow-up skills were terrible too. This is way back when. So what I'm saying is, be prepared, be ready. You know, because this magic has a tendency of bringing you opportunities when you least expect it, and it will catch you off guard, and you'll realize, oh, this magic is working, and I wasn't prepared for it. You know, that's what it's all about. But it's a beautiful thing when it works. You realize that you have power, that Osiris is real, that he's within you, he's being resurrected, being brought out, and that all praise is due to Osiris. Okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a candle, right? This is type of candle magic. And you can see previous videos where I've actually talked about this. And, you know, you can get a red candle. And the red candle is basically for if you are not really have enough energy about you. You don't find yourself gun-ho or, you know, typically you would use a red candle. There are different other color candles that I could tell you to use, but I don't know exactly what's your thing. Like if you're looking to make boatloads of money in the industry, I would say get a green candle, okay? But let's just start with the red candle. You're gonna light the red candle. The thing you wanna do with this is when you wake up in the morning, early in the morning, and then before you go to sleep at night, 30 minutes before you go to sleep, you're gonna sit at the candle, light the candle, all right? And you're gonna look at the candle flame. This is scrying in a way. If you know what that term is about, you can research that on the internet. So you're gonna look at the candle flame, all right? And I want you to, and this is all about emotions, see yourself in your career doing what you want as if it's the present moment. Then I want you to repeat to yourself in your mind some positive affirmations regarding that. So for example, if I wanted to be an actor, right? I can see myself. I wouldn't say see yourself accepting an Oscar. I wouldn't do that. What I would do is I would see myself in a blockbuster film, see my friends coming to the theater, watching the film at the screening, maybe seeing me walk the red carpet at the premiere of the film. But the most important thing is to feel the emotion, feel it, enhance that emotion, and stare into the candle flame. Don't close your eyes. You can daydream and do this. And then repeat to yourself things like this, and these are affirmations. Isn't it great to be a successful actor? I feel wonderful being recognized for my career success. Now, you're saying these things in the present moment because you need to trick the subconscious mind to think that this is happening, because the subconscious mind has no reference of time or space. So it thinks that when you say these things, that these things are actually now. So then what it does is it works to make those things reality. Okay. But if you use words and terms that are in the past tense or the future tense, then it kind of says that, oh, I don't have to worry about this because that was the past or the future, sometime in the future. So speak to yourself as if this is the present, you know, and then take it a step further and start to visualize nuances and details. Like maybe you're walking down the street and people are asking you for your autograph. You know, you're getting calls like crazy and you have to get a new cell phone because they're killing that old cell phone when somebody calls. You need another cell phone to make your own private calls to your friends because you are so much in demand. So this is what you do here. You do it 30 minutes before you go to sleep and as soon as you wake up in the morning, okay? And it's important to work on the visualizations and work on the affirmations too, okay? Now, what you're going to find, now this typically should be done, how long should you do this? 15 to 20 minutes, okay? Now, the next step is, and this is really important, before you go to sleep at night, there is the in-between state. In between you being awake and you falling asleep, there is an in-between state. That state is a magical, powerful state. If you use that to your advantage, you can create wonders. So the first thing you're going to do is when you're falling asleep or when you lay down, start thinking about those visualizations we talked about, okay? And role play those things in your mind, but you got to feel the emotion now. That's very, very important. The emotion has to come through, not just the visualization, but the emotions. You don't have to say the affirmations, but you could. I say the affirmations myself too. So say the affirmations and allow yourself to fall asleep with that visualization and the affirmations. Allow yourself just to drift off into a nice sleep. Now, if you do this right, what's going to happen is you may dream about this. And the morning you wake up, you may not remember the dream, but it may hit you, okay? Now, the next step is the third step, and it's the hardest step. It's called, this is sleep deprivation, okay? You need to shock your system, okay? And this is what we do when we want to impregnate the spirit, like Isis Aset. She had immaculate conception. She had Heru, Horus, and virgin birth. She gave birth to Horus, which the ancient Egyptians talk about impregnating your spirit, who you are, with an idea, and then giving birth to that. Okay, so what you're going to do is go. I would say first go 48 hours without sleep. 48 hours without sleep. Now, use that time, and a weekend, don't go to sleep. Use that time to basically think about those affirmations and repeat them to yourself and visualize it to yourself. You can do it. You can do your normal work. You can do everything you need to do. Go shopping, go out with friends if need be. But the focus of your thoughts have to be 100% around those visualizations and affirmations. And what I do is I record them and I put my earphones on and then I go out and do, I go out and just take care of things I need to do, And a lot of times people will be like, what do you listen to? You listen to music? No, I'm listening to my affirmations. Now, 48 hours is just the minimum. I do like 72 hours where I just don't sleep. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start drifting in between state. You're going to go from waking to dream state or, here and there, but you're going to be in the middle. Okay. And if you're doing this right, with the visualization of the affirmation, it almost becomes what they call an obsession. And that's what's the key to magic. You want to be obsessed with something to where it gets to the heart, the spirit, where, because sometimes you can think about something. It's like learning. You ever in school and you had to study spelling tests, and you would repeat the words. And you repeat the words because you want them to go from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind and commit it to memory, right? So your subconscious mind needs to be impregnated and given the order and command to make you successful in the industry. In order to do that, it has to come to the forefront because right now you're in a waking conscious state. You have adrenaline flowing and you're not in a slumber state or daydream state. And, you've heard people talk about the theta state, all the other states. So I'm not going to go into all those terminologies, but you want to get to that in-between state. And the sleep deprivation or staying awake for 48 hours or 72 hours is a great way of the subconscious mind coming to the forefront and you impregnating that with ideas. Be careful though, because if you're going to go out and do things, be careful because you don't want to become programmed by things out in the outside world that will influence you and mess up your visualizations and your affirmations. And typically what was done in the olden days is they would take these individuals and put them away and have them stay up for a week or whatever, and they would do the mantras and all that, and they wouldn't have contact with the outside world to prevent contamination. But I realize some of us have busy schedules and all that, so we can't. So this is why I say I do the earphone thing. So I'm drowning out, and I use basically sound. It muffles the external sounds, So you can only hear what's playing into your earphones. Be careful with that because, I walked into the middle of the street and I realized cars were coming because I couldn't hear them. So just be careful with that. But that's the best way to do it because it drowns out the external noise and you can only hear your affirmations. Okay. So once you have that, here is the next step. Those are the 3 steps, the 3 main steps that you need to do for a year. So the candle ritual, morning, night, and before going to sleep. What are you saying? When do you do that? You do it every darn day. You're allowed to take one day off. You can take the Sunday off if you need to, but you have to do it every day for a year. All right. I'm going to tell you why you have to do it every day for a year. And the sleep deprivation, you do it. I would say do it once a month. Okay. Now here's what you need to do next. You have to, and I use this in my classes sometimes. It's called ping reality. Ping reality. That's a computer term. So what that means is you got to ask the spirit to show you a sign that this thing is working. All right. Because you need to see a sign or an omen that you're going in the right direction. So when you start this, the first month, after the 4th week, during that candle ritual meditation, I want you to say to yourself, please show me a sign that my ritual is working and that what I desire will manifest. Okay. You don't tell it what sign to show you. Don't do that. Okay. Because that's a whole another objective then, because some people say, show me a sign by giving me $50 somehow, forget about that. All right. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen is this. Okay. You are going to see that sign. But you can't, do not hold out the expectation. No, you should hold out the expectation, but do not start looking for it everywhere. Forget about it. Tell the spirit to show you a sign that you're moving in the right direction and then let it go. But do expect it to come. Now, what's going to happen? Don't worry. When it comes, you'll know. You won't miss it because it'll come at the most, maybe I can say the word inappropriate or weird time. You may be rushing to get to work and bounce and run into a woman, and she says, "Oh my God, what are you running to? An audition?" And you be like, "How did this woman know I was going to an audition? Or how did this woman know I was an actor?" So that's your key. That's your sign that it's working and it's going in the right direction. And don't come off with this, "Oh, that's just a coincidence." There's no coincidences in life. All right. There's no coincidences. That this doesn't happen. All right. So make sure you ask the spirit for that. Then when you see the sign, make sure that you believe it, that you commit yourself to it and say, "Thank you." Say that, "Thank you." And then move full steam ahead with the rest for a year. Because in recognizing the sign, you are affirming to the spirit that, hey, you know what? This stuff is real. It works. I'm now more committed than ever to launching my career. That's what you do. And this is this technique is set up to bring you the sign to increase your faith. Because I know it's difficult to do something and not see the fruits of your labor for a year. That's crazy, So you want a sign right now, The thing you don't want to do is keep asking for signs or keep testing it. That'll basically destroy all the work you're trying to do. Now, in the Kemetic mythos or mythology of Asar Set, the goddess Set or Isis, she talks about nurturing the idea, or Heru. She nurtured her baby Heru. In fact, she sat Heru on her lap and said, "This is your first throne." So you are in essence taking the idea that you're impregnating the spirit with is you becoming famous. It's your baby. So you have to nurture it by continuing to do all of this for a year. The baby requires nourishment, attention, love. So you have got to keep doing the ritual and be dedicated to it, because that is a sign that you're dedicated to your career. And that will appeal to the gods, Het-Heru, Hathor, Venus, and she will grant you your wish if it's within your destiny to achieve that, if you were meant to be an actor. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is a very, very small, short way to go about the ritual. As I said before, the Hollywood power players are paying priests and priestesses to do the massive ritual, and they're going into the secret rooms and they're performing all this magic and everything, and it's very powerful. They're very powerful, and it works. Don't mess with them. You know what I mean? And it was funny because when I was dealing with certain people, and they would get me upset, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to deal with this with you right now. You know, you're obviously doing wrong, so I'm just going to go home and do a ritual and deal with this in the way of a Cometian would do it, you know? And there are certain cases where I was trying to break into certain industries or certain fields, and it was very, very difficult. So what I would have to do is I would say, okay, I've got to create a spirit entity who will do my bidding, who will get me in the door. And that's another form of advanced magic. And it's all, like I said, it's all good magic. It's all light magic, because you're letting your creative light show. You know, you're not trying to make people do something that they wouldn't normally do. What you're asking is, you're asking the goddess to have it such that you're meeting the right people, but that they're seeing the light within you, the talent and the creativity within you. And if you approach it from that direction, then you'll be successful. Many industry power players approach it from the dark realm. And what I mean by that is that they have no talent, but yet they're invoking these beings or spirits that will either give them talent, and they can do that by possession, or directly influencing people or situations in the industry on their behalf. And some of that is wrong. Okay, but it goes on. It goes on, you know? So anyway, that is the technique. Now, if you want some more details, because you can go, you can go full blown on this. You can get yourself some success powder, and you can get yourself a quartz crystal and really start getting fancy with this. The success powder is not like you don't have to do it right away, but I would prescribe that you start looking into that as you spend this entire year on your ritual. But the one thing that you can do right away is go to any magic shop or occult shop and get a quartz crystal. And every time you're doing your candle magic, and you can even do it when you're falling asleep, you hold the crystal, right? And you're impregnating the crystal with your desire, because quartz crystals they're conductors in a way. They in other words, you can basically embed them with any type of energy. So make sure that when you purchase the quartz crystal that you purify, because other people have probably been touching it and everything. You want to get you want to purify it from the energy by running it under spring water, or you can talk to the person in the shop. How do you purify that quartz crystal? They can tell you. And then when you do your meditations with the candle and everything, you're holding it and you're impregnating this energy, your energy, into this quartz crystal. Don't let anybody touch it after that. Don't carry it around with you. The only time you want to take it with you is after you fully charged it for at least 30 days. You would take it to your auditions, okay? And just put it close to you in your pocket, or either get a necklace that you can put it on and hang there. I got one that I do that with. And when you take it with you to the auditions, then this will help you move in the right direction. You're not using it to help you get that role right then and there, but it's opening the door to one thing leads to another. And the more that you meditate with this crystal and impregnating with the desire or the objective, the more powerful it becomes. And so if you've been doing this for a year, this crystal is going to be a very powerful crystal, and it's going to pay off one day. So don't give it to anybody. Don't let anybody touch it, because you're going to be giving your energy away, you know? So you'll see what I'm talking about when I spoke earlier about how exhausting this can be, because if you really want to be elaborate, you'll do the powder, you do incense, you do all kinds of stuff, a full-blown ritual, and it's very taxing. It can take a lot out of you, but it will give you back a lot in return. So, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. You can put them in the chat box below. If you want more details on affirmations or any tools that you can use to enhance the energy and quicken your success, just email me at kesank@gmail.com. and I'll get back to you. And I'm happy to answer, like I said, any questions. But so if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to get more great videos and pass this on to family and friends. And get up off your ass and get in there. Do the work, man. And I don't mean just the physical work. I mean the metaphysical stuff, because you are power. You are God man, God woman. And there is nothing you cannot achieve if you just believe. Just believe. It doesn't take a PhD to believe. You don't have to go to a cult school to believe. And by the way, many actors in films that have just released, I'm not going to go into this, have attended occult acting schools, and they're in England. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. And also, I have a Patreon campaign. You can you can pledge for as little as $1 a month. And I would appreciate if you do that. And so I also give you some good content, and there's different layers, or not different layers, but different, stages where you can contribute $5, $10, and you'll see what you get back in return. So much love, appreciate it. This is Gesakma Keperu, and Amun Ra.